We are on the bottom of Samach Amud Beis, last line over there. This is a quote from the Mishnah. The Mishnah told us that an individual is not allowed to go out with a single sandal out unless there's a wound on his foot. So what's going on over here? What's going on is like this. If a person goes outside, you go outside in a place where there is no Eruv, into the public domain, and you're wearing one shoe, people are going to look at you. You're going to feel self-conscious. You're going to slip the shoe off, and you might end up carrying it in Rosh Hashanah. And therefore, the Mishnah is telling us you are not allowed to walk out. You are not allowed to walk out into Rosh Hashanah wearing one shoe. But the Mishnah also told us, Bizman she'ein aleh maka, as long as you don't have a wound. So the Gemara infers, on top of Samach Aleph Amud Aleph, Hayesh baraglo maka, if the person does have a wound, nafik, you are allowed to go out wearing a single sandal. Ask the Gemara, okay, you could go out with one shoe when you have a wound, but it didn't tell you which foot it goes on. But how do you know nafik? Which foot could the person go out with? Amar Rav Huna, but osa sheyesh b'maka. The person is allowed to go out wearing a sandal on the foot that has a wound on it. Okay, so now we're going to have a bit of a philosophical debate about the function of shoes. I always debate this with my daughters. They say the shoes are there for aesthetics only, not for comfort, not for support, and I offer different interpretations. I don't agree. But the Gemara is siding with me. Okay, so Amar Rav Huna, but osa sheyesh b'maka. We'll see. The Gemara, Rav Huna says that a person's allowed to wear a sandal on the foot that has a wound on it. So when you're wearing the sandal on the foot that has the wound, why? Alma, we see, the purpose of a sandal is for the purpose of protecting the foot from pain. That's the function. If someone to ask you, what is the function of a shoe? It's to protect your foot from pain. And that's why the person is allowed to wear a single shoe on that foot. And here, no one's going to laugh at the person. They'll understand, oh, he's wearing it on the shoe on the foot that has a wound. And they'll understand that since shoes are made to protect from wounds, and the fact that there's no shoe on the other foot is because normally the person would go barefoot, but right now they have a wound, and that's why they have the shoe on that foot. He says, no, the opposite. The shoe should go on the foot that does not have a wound on it. The function of shoes are for the sake of pleasure, comfort rather. The one who has a makkah, they'll see the person limping. So say, I get it. This makes sense. You're limping, so you must have a wound. And the fact you're wearing one shoe is because shoes are normally worn for pleasure, for comfort, and that's why you have the shoe on the other foot. Rav Yochanan continues. Rav Yochanan agrees the first opinion, who holds that the purpose of the shoe is to protect the foot that has to protect the foot from pain. To Amar Rav Yochanan, Rabbi Shaman bar Abba. Rav Yochanan said to Rav Shaman bar Abba, "Havli mesanai, give me my shoes." Yavle di yamin, he gave him his right shoe. As we're about to see, Rav Yochanan was of the opinion you have to put on your left shoe first. If you don't put on your left shoe first and you put on your right shoe first, you cannot then go put on your left shoe. You got it? You have to put on your left shoe first, and if you by mistake put on your right shoe first, you cannot then go ahead and put on your left shoe. So Rav Yochanan says, "Amar le asiso maka, you made my foot be like one that has a wound." So what is he saying? He sounds like he's saying, so that the right saying he's going to end up wearing one shoe, because according to him, if you don't put on your left shoe first, you could only wear your right shoe. And he's saying, Hasiso maka, you made my foot, the one that I'm putting the shoe on, like one that has a wound. So it sounds like he's saying that the function of a shoe is to protect from pain. Gemara says, no, but Dilma Kichia Barav Svirle, maybe he holds like Kichia Barav, the Chachi Gamra, this is what he's saying. Asisa shall small maka. You didn't make this foot the shoe, the foot that I'm wearing the shoe on, but rather you made the other foot appear like it has a wound, because really the point of wearing a shoe is not for protecting from pain, but rather it's there to support, it's there for comfort, and therefore by putting on the right foot, it's like you made my left foot out to be a wounded foot. Okay, so therefore there's no proof from Rav Yochanan, and the Gemara ends there. But now we go on a tangent about which shoe do you put on first. So as Rav Yochanan Tameh, Rav Yochanan goes like his reasoning. Like he said elsewhere, Rav Yochanan, b'tefillin kach menalim, just like tefillin, so too shoes. Matefillin is small, just like tefillin that you first put on your left hand. Menalim is small, so too when it comes to shoes, you begin with your left. Meisvei, we have a brisa which contradicts this. You should know when you put on your shoes, noel shel yamin, v'achach noel shel small. You first do your right, and then you do your left. So which one is it? Rav Yochanan says left then right because tefillin. This brisa says right then left. Rav Yosef Hashatanya Hachi. Now that we have a brisa that says this, Rav Yochanan Hachi. Rav Yochanan says something different, right? The brisa says right first. The Rav Yochanan says left first. David Hachi Avad, David Hachi Avad. Whichever one you do first is fine. It's okay. Amalei Abaye says Rav Yosef. Dilma Rav Yochanan Ha Masnis Lav Shmiele. Maybe Rav Yochanan just never heard of this brisa. Had he known about this brisa, he would have he changed his opinion. So how can you say go whichever one you want? Maybe he never knew about this brisa. Or maybe alternatively he knew about this brisa because every halacha goes to Mishnah, and he held that the halacha was not like that brisa. So how could you say just go whichever one approach you take? Rather, Rav Nachman Yitzchak says one who fears heaven can fulfill both. Umanu Mar B'rei Rabbana, who is someone who followed this practice doing both? It's Mar, the son of Rabbana. How did he accomplish both? Siyam diamine lo katar. He put on his right shoe, Same day, mine v'lo katar. You put on his right shoe, but you not tie it. Same small v'katar, and then you put on his left shoe and tie it. V'adar katar mine, and then tie his right shoe. And this is common practice brought on the Shulchan Aruch that the right thing to do is put on your right shoe first. Don't tie it. Put on your left shoe first. Tie your left shoe just like you tie your tefillin on the left hand, and then you tie your right shoe. Amar Rav Ashi Chazin Rav Kahana Delo Kapit. I saw Rav Kahana was not particular about the order in which he puts on shoes. So there is a big discussion. The Torah brings down this. Lehalacha, the Beis Yosef, who is the author of the Shulchan Aruch, Yosef Karo, quotes this in the Torah. Comments on the Torah. He says, no other post can bring this. The Rambam and others don't bring down this halacha. And he says the reason that they must not bring down this halacha is because they hold like Rav Ashi said that Rav Rashi said that I saw Rav Kahana was not particular about the order. Seemingly, this order is not important. The Drisha, one of the commentaries on the Torah, disagrees. He says that the reason that it wasn't brought down by others is because not that Rav Ashi was saying it doesn't matter, but rather what we're saying is that it's not obligatory, but there certainly is an ideal to do so. So there is an opinion. So again, just to review, there are those who say that it's not a halacha at all. There are those, and you can do whichever one you want. There are those who say a Yirei Shamayim, this ideal thing to do. But the way the post can bring it down, the Shulchan Aruch brings it down as if it's halacha. And the Mishnah Berurah goes so far as to say that if a person only has, sometimes it happens like you're running around in the morning, and all you find is your left shoe. So you're like, okay, let me put this on. Or with kids, this happens. It happens to me. Like, okay, I only found one shoe. Let's put this on now, and we'll find the other one. Put the other one on. According to the Mishnah Berurah, you can't do that. You have to wait around until you find the other shoe, the right shoe, and then you put the right shoe on first, and then only afterwards you put the left shoe. Okay, so different opinions about this. There is a lot of discussion about what about lefties? How does this work? There's also discussion about women, because if part of it is based about tefillin, so a woman who does not typically put on tefillin, what would be the halacha? There's also a discussion about if I'm putting on shoes to someone else. Is it my right and my left, or is it their right and their left? Okay, so there's more to discuss over here. Tanur Rabbanan. Let's go further though. The Brisa says, when a person puts on shoes, no shel yamin v'achar no shel small, put on the right shoe and then the left shoe. Shoe cholitz, when you take it off, cholitz shel small v'achar cholitz shel yamin, take the left shoe off and after that the right. That is a respect to the right as well. Some though do point out those last line doesn't mean literally you take off the left shoe first. It just means once you already put the right shoe on first, you've already done like right first when it comes to shoes, and therefore you could just take off whichever, either left shoe first, right shoe first, doesn't matter. When a person bathes himself, small, first wash your right side, then you wash your right, then your left, when you anoint your hands, small, do your left, right, and then your left afterwards. If you're washing your whole body, anointing your whole body, you should wash your hair first. You're in the shower, you wash your hair first, then the rest of the body, because it is the ruler of all one's limbs. Okay, so I don't exactly understand what that means, but I do find it very meaningful that in Judaism we have halachos which guide our every moment, and one could look at that as cumbersome and overwhelming. At the same time, that means that we're able to inject spirituality, we're able to inject meaning, we're able to inject purpose and connection to God in every single thing we do. Okay, v'lo b'tefillin. The Mishnah continued, you're not allowed to wear tefillin. Now there is machlokas and eruvin about wearing tefillin on Shabbos. One opinion actually says you have to wear tefillin on Shabbos. As you know, we don't rule that way. But the Gemara now is going to point out the following, that you may have thought that the Mishnah, when it said you can't wear tefillin, is talking about the one who holds that you don't wear tefillin on Shabbos, like we hold, because for us, we'd say, it's muksa, so I shouldn't wear it. Though the Rav Safra says, no, Rav Safra, lo tema, alibaman amar Shabbos lavs man tefillin. It does not only go according to the one who says that tefillin is not the time for tefillin, and afiluman amar Shabbos is man tefillin, even according to the opinion who says that Shabbos is the time you wear tefillin. So there was an opinion that said you would wear tefillin on Shabbos in your house, lo yetz, you can't go into Rosh Hashanah. Why? You might take the tefillin off and carry them for Amos and Rosh Hashanah. Why would you take them off? No, until now we're talking about jewelry. I want to show them to someone else. Am I going to do that with my tefillin? The answer is no. The reason I might take them off is because you can't wear tefillin in the bathroom, and therefore a person might take them off to go to relieve themselves. There are those who teach Rav Safra's statement going on the last part of the Mishnah, which said, the Brisa said, the Mishnah said, that if you do wear any of these things, you're not chayv chatas. When it says that you are not liable, meaning we're saying that it's not a burden. It's you're not going to be chayv chatas. It's not only according to the one who says that Shabbos is a time of wearing tefillin. Even according to the way we rule, that say tefillin is not something that is clothing. Ein chayv chatas. Still, if you wear it outside, you are not going to be chayv chatas. My tama derech mal b'shavit. At the end of the day, tefillin is considered a manner of clothing, and this comes up actually if you are walking in an area which does not have an eruv, and you see tefillin on the street, and they're going to get thrown out or whatever it is, you are allowed. So since wearing the tefillin would only be an Isser D'Rabbanan, since at the end of the day, it's not a masri, it's not like a burden you could put on the tefillin and then walk around saving the tefillin, rescuing the tefillin in that fashion. Because at the end of the day, it's a rabbinic law and would be waived in this case. Okay, the Mishnah said you cannot go out with an amulet as long as it is not from an expert. Don't think that the amulet has to be from a person who's an expert and the amulet has to be proven effective. What does that mean? What that means is as follows. You could have, let's say, a doctor who is an expert doctor, but maybe maybe they're very good at helping you out with sinus infections, but they might not be very good at helping you with a broken toe, right? So you could have a person who's an expert. So we're saying don't think it has to be that the man is an expert, the writer of the kamiyah is an expert, the amulet is an expert, and that the amulet itself, the text, is proven to be an effective thing. Once we've proven that the man, the writer of the amulet, is a proven expert, even if we have proof that this kamiyah, this amulet, is effective, it's still allowed to be worn. Daikanami, the Mishnah itself, you can infer this from the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, the Mishnah says you cannot go with an amulet as long as it is not from an expert. It doesn't say as long as it is not proven effective. So we see from there, as long as it's written by someone who's proven to be an expert, even if we don't know they have an expertise in this area, we've never seen this amulet written for this particular need, as long as it comes from a person who's an expert, that's okay. Toner Rabbanan, the Brisa goes into more detail about effective amulets. What is an amulet that's considered effective? Call Sheriba V'Shana V'Shilish, as long as it worked 3 times. Whether it is an amulet of writing or an amulet of herbs. Okay, so basically they would have amulets which are sometimes like written Kabbalistic things, sometimes it was just like a mix of different spices or herbs. Whether it's someone who's dangerously ill, or it's someone who's not dangerously ill, still you're allowed to wear this kamiyah, and not only in a situation where it's healing someone, it's even able to wear it for preventative purpose. The kosher matter, you're allowed to tie it and untie it in the shus rabim, as long as you don't tie it with a bracelet or a ring, and go out in public domain, then it appears as if you're doing something wrong. Then it appears like the amulet is being worn for decorations, for an ornament, and that we know we are not allowed to wear in the Rishus Rabbim. Okay, so why are you allowed to tie it together? Why are you allowed to tie it and untie it? The explanation given is that the whole concern of wearing certain things, you're going to show it to someone else. The kamiyah, you're not going to do so. So therefore, we're very lenient. You're even allowed, if it starts getting loose, you're allowed to untie it, tie it up again. That would not be a problem. The Gemara is going to analyze this Bryce over here about the kamiyahs, and we'll come back to that tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.